So we spent some time on making armholes bigger,
Mm-hmm.
but now let's flip it.
Okay.
Let's talk about making them smaller. Reduction.
Yeah, because sometimes a smaller armhole can be,
Way better.
yeah,
More flattering, more comfortable.
more comfortable. Like
Yeah.
what kind of garment?
Think about like a sleeveless top.
Oh.
A slightly smaller armhole can make it look so much smoother.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, no gaping.
Oh, yeah.
And like a tailored jacket.
Mm-hmm.
You want that like really crisp, sharp look.
Yeah.
A smaller armhole can really make that happen.
I'm starting to see the possibilities.
Yeah.
So how do we even approach that?
Okay, well, first of all, don't just sew the armhole deeper,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Remember, we want a nice shape,
Yeah.
a beautifully shaped armhole
Right.
that looks good with the whole garment.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
Ellie says you got to start by figuring out the original design.
Okay.
Like if the armhole's already pretty high and narrow,
Right.
you might not have a lot of room to play with.
Okay.
But if it's lower and wider, you
Yeah.
have more options.
More flexibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. So consider the style.
Yes.
Make sure it still looks good
Right.
with the adjustments.
Exactly. And you know what she says to do. Pinch out the excess fabric around the armhole.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So you can see how much you can actually reduce it by.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Right. And also, it lets you see if there are any problems.
What do you mean problems?
Like sometimes the fabric might bunch up
Oh, yeah.
or pull in certain spots.
Right.
That might mean you need to change the bodice or the sleeve pattern.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it all fits smoothly.
So it's not just about the armhole.
It's not. It's about everything around it, too.
It's all connected.
Totally.
And that's where the notches come in again, right?
Yes. Those little guideposts,
Uh-huh.
they make sure the sleeve and armhole line up.
So even though we're making the armhole smaller, we still need to adjust the sleeve.
Oh, for sure. In fact, it's even more important here
Okay.
because we're changing the whole armhole curve.
Right.
So the sleeve has to match.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it gets kind of complex.
It does seem a little more complex.
But Ellie shows you exactly what to do,
Yeah, she breaks it down
step by step.
in the videos.
Yeah, slashing, spreading, reshaping,
Right.
Rulers, curves,
Uh-huh.
even freehand drawing.
Oh, wow.
She uses it all.
That's cool. And I love how she's not, like, strict about the tools.
Yeah, she just wants you to understand the idea,
Right.
and then you can use whatever works best for you.
Yeah, that's good.
And you know what else she's a big fan of?
What?
Muslins.
That test garment.
Yes. Especially for armhole adjustments.
So you can see how it fits before you, like,
Exactly.
cut into the good fabric.
Exactly. You can see if it's pinching or gaping
Right.
before it's too late.
So important.
Yeah, trust me, it can save you a lot of trouble.
Okay, so we've talked about the design, pinching the fabric, the sleeve, making a muslin.
It's a lot.
Are there any other tips for making the armhole smaller?
Oh, yeah, a few more.
Okay.
So she says you got to pay attention to the balance
Okay.
between the front and back pieces.
Right, right.
The reduction might be different
Okay.
for each piece.
So we have to look at them separately.
Exactly. And don't try to make it too much smaller.
Right.
A little goes a long way.
Easier to take more away than add back.
Yes.
And don't rush.
No rushing.
She really emphasizes that, like,
Take your time.
patience.
Patience and precision.
Okay.
It's not a race.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
And earlier we were talking about how the sleeve adjustments
Huh?
can be even trickier when you're reducing the armhole.
Yeah. What are some of the challenges there?
Well, we're not just changing the length.
Right.
We're changing the whole shape of the sleeve cap
Okay.
to fit that new armhole.
So, like, a simple sleeve would be easier to adjust
Way easier.
than, like, a puffed sleeve.
Oh, yeah, with gathers and pleats.
Right. Yeah.
That can get complicated.
And she mentions that even when we're reducing the armhole,
Yeah.
the back sleeve is still wider.
Always.
Always wider than the front.
Always. You got to remember that.
Okay. It's all about that natural arm curve.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're shrinking things down, but still keeping that balance.
It all has to work together.
Like a puzzle.
Exactly, a puzzle.
So we've talked about assessing the design, pinching the fabric,
Right.
adjusting the sleeve,
Mm-hmm.
making a muslin.
Muslins are your friend.
It's a lot to keep in mind, but
Yeah, but it's worth it.
it's worth it, and it's a process.
Yeah, you got to be patient. You got to be precise.
And you got to experiment.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it might take a few tries to get it right.
That's okay.
Okay, good to know.
We all make mistakes.
So we've got all this down. We can enlarge,
Uh-huh.
we can reduce, but what if it's still not right?
Oh, yeah. What about those pesky fit problems?
Yeah, like what if I put on the garment
Yeah.
and the armhole is still giving me grief?
Ellie's got your back.
Okay.
She has this great PDF called Troubleshooting Armhole Fit Issues.
Ooh, that sounds useful.
It's like she knows exactly what we're going to mess up.
Let's talk about that in the next part of our deep dive.
That sounds good.